Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. This was one of the superstars of the 2024 model year, not because it's expensive or pretentious, but because it's uncommon and beautiful. You're looking at the Tudor Black Bay Chrono Pink, part of the Black Bay Chrono series that's been running since 2017. This one, officially influenced by Taiwanese polymath artist Jay Cho, featuring his signature pink. It's also a very Miami-oriented pink, which is consistent with David Beckham's Miami-based soccer team, as he is also a Tudor ambassador, so it works on both levels. Now, the watch is rare, and when I say that, I mean volume dealers of Tudor were told last year that they might only get 2 or 3, and based on my experience, that's squares, so these don't come up too often. The watch is a lovely piece, as you can see, with a pink dial, a black aluminum bezel insert, a steel case 41 millimeters in diameter. From lug tip to lug tip, the watch is 50.1 millimeters, and you can see because of the pivoted end links that lug to lug is the total distance across the wrist. There's a 22 millimeter spacing in between the lugs, and then we'll pop it on the wrist so you can get a sense of how it fits on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and the answer is quite well. It's a big watch, make no mistake, although on paper only a millimeter larger than the Daytona. The feel is really more of a 42 or maybe a 43. It's not super thick, but it's not super thin. You can see pretty easily 14.5 isn't going to win at any awards when it comes to slipping under a cuff. But then again, I don't think you wear a pink chronograph because you want to be discreet. This is a watch that's all about joie de vivre. Now, the timepiece does fit on my wrist, and I believe it probably fit on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference on the basis of having a little bit of clearance on either side. These lugs are not hanging over the edge of my wrist. It's got a lovely 5-link bracelet, which Tudor won't compare to the Rolex Jubilee, but I will. It's got a conforming end link that mates it to the case, then polished centers that are smaller, larger shoulders that are satinated, many little individual removable links, so you have the ability to fine-tune the fit, and of course it's got Tudor's T-fit, which gives you a couple of different incremental points of adjustment and about 8 millimeters of overall sliding adjustment for fine-tuning. Taking a look at the clasp, you can see it is a single swing arm clasp with a clamshell lock. I always like to point out these little ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps here because they're on the inside of the clasp as well as the exterior. So the primary swing arm locks in place, and then the clamshell locks in place, and because of the ceramic being immune to wear and tear from the steel, the snappy tolerances will remain, which I love. Taking a look at the case profile, screw-down crowns here, 200-meter water resistance. Tudor uses the old pre-1968 or early 1968 and prior rose logo on the crown, and then it uses the newer shield logo on the dial. Of course, we've got a units per hour bezel. This is great if you want to gauge the speed of something. Now, if you're good with mental decimals, it could be almost anything. And if you're good with conversion factors, it could be kilometers or miles per hour. What you do is, let's say it's going to be a kilometer, you start the chronograph when your race car begins the standing kilometer or maybe the flying kilometer, depending on whether it starts in motion. And then when the race car finishes the kilometer, it passes the second reference point at the end. Then you stop it, you look at the number of J's, and that race car was going 300 miles an hour. It's very fast. 300, alternatively, kilometers per hour, based on whether you're using a kilometer or a mile as your reference. Now, other things to note is that there's a little bit of a conical profile to the bezel, so it's got a bit of a vintage look. And then we have this boxed and cambered sapphire that's a lot like a vintage plexi, and I like that considerably. The dial is truly pink, and it's got a little bit of a chalky matte finish to it. We have the black dished registers. Note that although this watch uses a version of the Breitling B01 caliber, the Breitling has a 30-minute chrono register. Tudor makes a modification to use a 45-minute register, possibly so that David Beckham can time halves in games of soccer. Also present, a little nod to the snowflake era of Tudor Submariners, late 60s to mid 70s, in that hour hand, but then in the use of a no crown guard profile and a chaptering, some nods to the 50s and early 60s Tudor subs too. So it's an element of different eras of Tudor, including the modern era, as we have these applique indices, a feature you would not find on a vintage Tudor sub. We're going to pull the crown out, demonstrate some of the other features here. Notice I have hacking seconds. so I can stop the watch and synchronize it to a reference time. I also have a quick set for the date, so I can rapidly and easily reset the date should the watch run down or encounter an irregular length month. You can see some of the numerals. Every once in a while, Tudor gives us a lovely serify little font, particularly the ones right here. Now, people ask, what does the case back look like? And my answer is, it really doesn't look like anything. It's a solid case back, so you can see that quite well. But inside the case, we have Tudor's MT5813, which since 2017, when the Black Bay Chrono came out, has been a modified Breitling B01, which means automatic winding, 70-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 41 joules. The movement is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It features a combination of a column wheel and a vertical clutch for the chronograph. Oh my gosh, the column wheel of a B01, short of something ridiculous like a dotograph, what a sharp and positive column wheel feel. And a sharp report, a nice loud click when you use it. Vertical clutch, so when the chronograph engages, there's no jump or stagger or extraneous movement to the chronograph seconds hand. A vertical clutch has no play, so there is no jump, there's no gears to mesh. And because there's no additional wear and tear when you have a vertical clutch chrono engaged, you can just leave it engaged. If you like to have center seconds, ignore the chrono minutes register, you've got a center seconds hand now. Automatic winding to energize that 70-hour power reserve. You do get a few extra toys when you get the Tudor version of this movement. Tudor upgrades the Breitling, not just with the 45-hour minute register, but also a free-sprung balance for greater shock resistance and more precise setting. And then it gets a Tudor silicon anti-magnetic hairspring, which makes it very anti-magnetic indeed, with Tudor-specific decoration. So if you were to open up this case, it would not simply look like a standard Breitling B01. We should do a loom shot here, because the watch has no shortage of it. It is quite light in the night. If you love this Tudor Black Bay Chrono Pink, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.